So you think you know Summrs and all the other underground rappers? Well, you don't. If you're still a fetus in this shit, it's okay. But after Fallen Raven by Summrs, he's been gaining a lot more mainstream attention, even getting a cosign from Trippie Redd quite recently on his Instagram story. Some people telling me that this isn't the first time, but for some reason, Summrs really has been one of the only underground rappers or one of the artists within this upcoming generation that hasn't really gotten their flowers just yet. Even though him and Autumn practically created the subgenre of plug-in B, which a lot of people then came up from and surpassed them, unfortunately. Well, again, as I said before, Summrs is finally coming up pretty much independently, although not really, technically speaking. Or as always, a little bit of background on the artist Summrs. He's an underground rapper who really started buzzing in 2018 on SoundCloud with co-Slay World member Autumn, Wyland, and some others who have actually since separated for various reasons, but we're not going to get into that. And around the time he was 18 years old, which would make him 22 right about now. Him, Can, Wyland, Goonie, and Autumn all slowly progressed throughout the years, and other Slay World members through the creation of, again, their own subgenre, plug-in B, which essentially is just melodic plug beats with R&B inspired vocals, typically infused with heavy auto-tune, but you get it. And after some solid growth, his last independent project, at least for the time being, was titled Isolation, that rose him to the top of the underground at the time, and shortly after signed like late 2019, early 2020 to Victor Worldwide under Republic Records, a subsidiary of Universal Music Group. Major. Many of you probably know who this label owner is, Stephen William Victor, but also known as the Senior Vice President of A&R at Universal Music Group, hence the connection between his label. But beforehand, made a name for himself by being Pusha T's manager and discovering Ski Mask, the Slump God, and Pop Smoke. Around this same time, but actually after Summrs, at least for Autumn's sake, he signed other Slay World members, Autumn and Wyland, who have also since had some weird release delays similar to Summrs, but we'll get into that a little bit later. For I further wanted to discuss how even though he signed to this Victor Worldwide, technically up until this day, unless he's been dropped or he got out of the deal somehow, but none of this information is public as of yet, that he has still yet to release any music under this label. And I always wondered to myself, why? Well, to answer this question, we need to go back in time to Summrs' real first viral moment due to an incident with an OnlyFans chick, or however she's famous. I do not really care. She's a wacko in that she threw a brick through Summrs' window of where he was staying at an Airbnb or whatever apartment he was renting, threatening to stab him and also fighting another girl, and soon after was arrested between mental hospital visits. She also allegedly, on the first day of visiting Summrs and friends, broke their TV, and so obviously Summrs kicked her out multiple times on subsequent days that she returned. And given her apprehension of leaving their homes, probably because she was trying to get that clout, that rapper D potentially, Summrs and the other Slay World members made the intelligent move of pulling out their cameras so they had all of the proof to defend themselves in the court of law against this mentally ill female who even on camera was trying to exploit her skin color in the eyes of the police, as well as gender. But no, none of the Slay World members touched her. But enough of this awful situation. For the most significant detail of this story is that because of these videos going viral, posted on social media, again just to defend themselves in the court of law, Summrs grew 18,000 followers in 1 month with steady growth afterwards. Adam22 and House Phone even called Summrs live on the No Jumper podcast to explain his side of the story, further growing his brand and name, convincing people on social media, given his knightlyhood, to listen to his music as every SoundCloud rapper dreams of. But what most people didn't realize is that Summrs was actually already signed to this Victor Worldwide label that we discussed previously in the last project released in 2019. But for some reason, for almost 17 months, with all this newfound clout that again every single rapper dreams of, Summrs did not release any music with his label, or was not allowed to. The world will never know unless Summrs were to hop on an interview with your boy. And these types of scenarios are exactly exactly why the hip-hop community believes that record labels sign rappers to slave contracts, because many a time, after consistently and frequently releasing music on SoundCloud for say every single week or every single month, and all of a sudden when they sign that contract, nothing drops for almost a year and a half in this case. And so many fans have theorized that potentially this Gabby situation worried the label in that it might be a bad look for Summrs, given that she tried to press charges onto him. And with the advantage that females have within domestic cases, a rather high likelihood of a lawsuit could occur and then the label would be liable. And so they shelved Summrs or put him on hold for at least the time being until things settled down. Well, what occurred shortly after over the next couple of years was a slew of allegations that I don't necessarily want to get into because they are ultimately just allegations, and what do I know? But the reason I bring these up is because, again, there is a possibility that the label was apprehensive to associate themselves with this newly signed artist due to potential lawsuits, and not only does that hurt their brand, but also their checkbooks.
What do you desire?
And so, as we spoke about a few minutes ago, upon signing to Victor Victor Worldwide, Summrs was not allowed or did not release, potentially upon his own fruition though, again, these are all conspiracy theories, to release a full-length project for almost a year and a half, 17 months, until he released his Intoxicated album, which actually was released independently in 2021. And since then, has dropped 2 more projects, Nothing More, Nothing Less, What We Have as an EP, and finally Fallen Raven, which I have said publicly, one of the best underground tapes of the year, thus far at least, because we are still just in July. Which ultimately brings us to the final questions as to if Summrs is still signed to his label, which I have heard from a little birdie in the woods that he is still technically signed, but that his label has just let him do his thing and given very little to no promotion by his label or any marketing budgets. Summrs has actually killed it in his career. Literally every single song on Spotify on his latest project hitting over 100,000 streams, some of which over 400,000 and continuing to go up. Even the quality of his music has evolved. I will be honest, I wasn't really a fan of him back in the day with the heavy auto-tune. But unfortunately, if it is the case that he is still technically on paper, they might try to pull a quick one and ask for their share of the royalties when in reality, they did nothing to help out his career. Or even worse yet, another label could step in that actually wants to take advantage of his success and doesn't really care about the potential liabilities and buy him out of his contract, which he may or may not get a portion of, which just goes to show, if you're an upcoming rapper, sometimes it may just be a good idea to hold off a bit, because early on in your career you don't really have the leverage until you get to a certain point of followership and engagement and streams, and that allows labels to screw you over with percentage royalties, creative control, etc., which Summrs may have fallen victim to. But again, we really don't know what happened with Summrs' record deal contract. He could have very well gotten dropped or gotten out of the deal, but it might have just taken a year and a half so that he could go independent and do what he's doing currently so that he can finally sign to a label that does him right. And so with all that being said, it has been your boy Bobbalam signing off. About to sign my life away to a secret record deal to Mia Khalifa, because them things are let me know in the comments what you think happened to Summrs' secret record deal, if he's out of the contract or if he's still technically signed on paper, and what you think that the label is going to do now that Fallen Raven has gained some steam in the music community. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe to join the ball game if you with it. Peace out, people. Know what I'm saying?